it's windy out here. Temperature's not great. It's like the middle of April. It's like, I don't know, it started out 40 degrees out this morning. Now it's like 50. It's just crappy. I tell you what, I'm going inside. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rugged Adventures. It started out to be a pretty crappy day, but you know, ended up clearing up and being pretty darn nice. So what we're gonna do today, we are gonna go into our off-grid cabin here, and we are going to look at something that I have been wanting to take a look at for quite a while. And that is, how loud are suppressors when you are in an indoor environment like this? Now this is, you know, for our YouTube reviewer, in case we get flagged for monetization, we are indoors, but this is part of our shooting range, part of our property down here, private shooting range. That's our normal range over there, and it kind of goes down over the hill. And what I wanted to look at today is how loud these different firearms are with different suppressors and different styles of ammunition, because we're going to use subsonics and supersonics. And I went ahead and brought our decibel meter here, and we're going to just take a look at what these sound like inside a structure, because a lot of times when I talk about suppressors, and I'm kind of on a suppressor kick, if you guys haven't noticed, I've just recently got another one, so I'm always just, you know, thrilled to mess with those. People are always saying, you know, at night, if I was in a close quarters type of situation with a home invader, it would be very quiet and very dark, because it would try to, you know, muzzle that flash some more. So let's actually put these things to test and see exactly what they end up being. First up, what I want to do is I want to get a good look at what the sound level is in the cabin right now at ambient noise. It's just us out in the middle of nowhere. There's the wind that's whipping around. It's like 20 to 30 mile an hour gusts. We got the Honda EU 2000 running outside, and as everyone knows, that's a pretty quiet generator. But just with nothing, let's get a baseline. So relatively quiet. If you guys were able to see that, it's in like the 30s. It might bump up to the 40s occasionally. Pretty darn quiet here, which is why I honestly love being out here. It's so relaxing. First up, we are going to use the Ruger Mark IV. We're going to use just standard 22 long rifle cartridges. Nothing fancy about it. The best part is that out of a pistol, you know, such as this or really any other pistol, full supersonic cartridges do not get supersonic speeds. There's just not enough barrel length. So all of them are subsonic, and you know, if you're out there trying to save a couple dollars, that makes a big difference when you're looking for ammunition, because subsonics always, in general, cost more than their supersonic variants. So let me just put the hearing and ear protection, or ear and eye protection on. Put a mag in here. We also put a GoPro outside so that maybe we can get some indication of what it's like outside, and we'll give this a test shot. We got 117.6 decibels with that 22 long rifle unsuppressed, and it was probably going subsonic speeds just because of the way things are. So next up, we'll use the same exact gun, the same exact ammo, but now we have this Advanced Armament Corps Prodigy suppressor on here, and it should dramatically reduce the sound. I'm actually going to just go ahead and leave my ears off so that I can give you guys kind of the intangibles that the camera, that the decibel meter aren't going to be able to pick up. And we'll see what this sounds like inside and outside of the cabin, as well as what the actual sound pressure is. And when we come here, we have 87.5 decibels. If you guys can see that, it's having a tough time focusing, I think, because of the light. But if you guys know anything about sound pressure levels, like I've talked about before in this channel, for every 3 decibels, that is double the volume. And from my point of view, it wasn't too terribly bad at all. It wasn't, you know, bad at all. I have no ear ringing. It didn't feel like there was a ton of pressure, and so that was a pretty dramatic reduction in sound. Now, how well does a 22 do as far as home defense or anything like that is up for debate, but I'm sure that anyone that comes in and ends up taking 1 or 2 or 12 or 25 22s to the chest is probably going to be in a not too terribly good way in the very near future. Next up, we have everybody's favorite, the AR-15, the 223-556. You know, hold your horses for the sake of argument today. Let's say that they're approximately the same type of cartridge. Everyone has one of these. This is an Anderson Arms model with a 16-inch barrel with a SilencerCo Hybrid 46 suppressor on it. This is a very common self-defense gun. You know, people have it for self-defense. Not very many people probably have the suppressor on there, but it does get a little unwieldy in my point of view versus a shorter gun like a handgun or a short barrel rifle. And especially once you add the stock and everything on there, you know, the barrel length with the suppressor is about 24 inches altogether. This wouldn't fit through most 30, 36-inch doors. And so, although it is used for home defense, it's probably not the best option in this case. But let's see with full sonic, just your typical 223 supersonic that you would get, you know, at any ammo store, full metal jacket. Let's see what the noise level is with this. We are definitely going to be putting on our hearing protection and our eye protection, because I can imagine that this is probably still going to be relatively loud. And so we got 114.5 decibels out of that supersonic 223. It did feel like there was a decent amount of pressure or so in here, but you know, altogether it's still quieter than our 22. And you know, if we were about 3 decibels quieter, so it was really about half the volume altogether. So we've got it loaded up with Subsonics. These just go just underneath the speed of sound. They are tremendously quiet. And if you guys saw the original video I did on this, I'll link it up here somewhere. It was very quiet. I think it was probably even quieter than our 22s, but we're going to find out right now. I'm going to do the same thing where I leave the hearing protection off, see how it feels. We'll get the decibel meter going and the GoPro outside so we can get both viewpoints, and we'll see how it goes. $85. I'm going to have to go back to the tape to see if that is less than the 22. I think it was. I think the 22 was like 87, but I just cannot recall off the top of my head. Again, guys, the bolt didn't cycle, so that's how you can tell that those are legit subsonic rounds. They're incredibly expensive at like $1.60 a piece, and with the bolt not being able to cycle, does that really make this a great self-defense thing? Okay, next up we do have a 300 Blackout. This is my 300 Blackout short barrel rifle. It's from Palmetto State. It's got that same Hybrid 46 silencer on it. Again, guys, if you've been watching me for a while, I'm pretty much over the hills for this for the suppressor because it fits on so many things. But the nice thing about this is it has an 8.5-inch barrel, just under 8-inch suppressor, so we are under 16 inches altogether, or no, just over 16 inches. The stock's not too terribly long, so you know, this is something that you could reasonably move around corners, through doors. It wouldn't be too terribly bulky, because if you look at the AR-15 versus this stock to stock, even with the barrel without a suppressor on it, this is still shorter overall. So first up, we're going to shoot the supersonic like we did on all the other tests. The one piece of thing I always like to tell people is when you guys are operating AR-15s with 223 and AR pistols with 300 Blackout, or AR-15s chamber and 300 Blackout, the mags are the same, the bullets look incredibly close to each other, and so just be sure that you're not putting 300 Blackout into your 5.56, or you're going to have a quick lesson on providing self-care while you try to dial 911. Here we go. We got 113.9 decibels, and I don't think that me talking messed that up in any way, shape, or form. Same gun, filled with Subsonics. These are Stealth Ammo Corporation. Never really heard of them. Got them pretty cheap from the internet. Again, I try to use different mags. I try to use P mags with this because I don't want to inadvertently put a 300 Blackout into the AR-15. No hearing protection again, because we are shooting subsonics and I want to know how it feels and try to relay that to you guys. We'll reset sound pressure meter and see what we get. Now I'm going to tell you what, that was actually pretty loud. We still got 115 decibels out of that. And again, those are supposed to be subsonic. Let's see if we get the same. Again, I'm going to reset the max. And I do have a little bit of ear ring. And yeah, Yeah, another one that was 112.5. And so when you're looking at this, I'm not sure if it is the short barrel, and I would hypothesize that that's probably plays a pretty big role in that being so much terribly louder. But this by far was the loudest of the Subsonics. The other ones were horribly quiet and would have just done very well in an indoor setting. None of them felt like ridiculously overpressure, like when you are in an indoor shooting range, somebody is shooting without a suppressor. The larger rifles, like the AK-47s, the 308s, the 5.56s, you feel that big thump of energy every time someone fires. That was not the case with any of these. This, the 300 Blackout, definitely has left me with a little bit of ear ring, which isn't great. As we know, 112, over like 80 some, 90 some decibels starts to becoming a problem for hearing over a long period of time. So, overall, that's where it is. The 22 and the 223 did very well. The 300 Blackout, not so much, but it allows you to have multiple rounds on target because it will cycle for your information for your home defense guns. Now, what I want you guys to do is I want you to subscribe down below, like this video, because I don't want you to miss out on anything. And what I have coming up, I want to test 12 gauge versus 5.56 versus 9mm. What is the best home defense round as far as if you miss your target? And we're going to set up some drywall walls and some exterior walls, see what happens with each one of those, because I think that those are probably the most popular weapons being used for home defense right now. Guys, I hope you had a good time today. I had a blast. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I appreciate you guys watching with me today. I'm going to clean up this brass right here, and I will see you on the next one.